Have you ever wondered what life was like in the so-called Dark Ages, when superstition and fear often reigned supreme? The gates of our secret garden are now open. Welcome to the monastery lost in the woods, that hidden place where you and me are going to sit together and have a chat in peace tonight under a full moon. We are going to talk about the Dark Ages. Picture a time steeped in mystique, a period spanning from the 5th to the 14th century, following the fall of the Western Roman Empire. This era, often referred to as the Dark Ages, is a fascinating study of human history. Yet it's worth noting that the term Dark Ages has faced its fair share of criticism. Some historians argue that it oversimplifies and paints the era with a broad Eurocentric brush, missing the nuances and complexities of the period. Despite these criticisms, the term is widely accepted and used to denote this thousand-year span. One of the most defining features of the Dark Ages was the influential role of the Christian Church. Christianity had a profound impact on societal norms and beliefs. It was a time where the Church was not merely a spiritual institution, but a political powerhouse, shaping every aspect of life in Europe, from laws and education to culture and morality. In this framework, the concept of witchcraft, the practice of magic, was viewed through the lens of Christian theology. The Church largely condemned any form of occultism, labeling it as heretical or demonic. The Church's stance on witchcraft was far from neutral. It was seen as a threat to the established order, a deviation from the sanctity of Christian beliefs. But what did this mean for those who practiced witchcraft? How did the Church's condemnation shape the lives of individuals and the course of history? And how did society respond to these witchcraft accusations? These are questions that we'll delve into as we journey through the Dark Ages. As we explore the intricate tapestry of this era, remember that history is never black and white. It's a complex mosaic of human experiences, shaped by a myriad of factors. As the Western Roman Empire crumbled, a new era dawned, marked by religious fervor and the looming shadow of superstition. This was the dawn of the Dark Ages, a time of fear, faith, and fascination. Join us as we journey back into this captivating epoch. In the heart of this era, witchcraft became a focal point of fear and fascination alike. The Christian Church, with its immense influence over all aspects of life, played a pivotal role in shaping societal perceptions of witchcraft. The practice of magic was seen through the lens of Christian theology, and the Church's stance was quite clear. Witchcraft was heretical and demonic. In context, heresy referred to beliefs or practices that deviated from the official Church doctrine. It was considered a grave sin, punishable by excommunication or even death. Witchcraft was linked to heresy because it was seen as a form of occultism, a deviation from the Christian faith, and an alliance with the devil. The Church's views on witchcraft were not just theological pronouncements. They had tangible, often devastating consequences. Accusations of witchcraft could lead to trials, interrogations, and torture. The Church and secular authorities worked hand in hand to root out heresy, and those suspected of witchcraft were often at the receiving end of this zealous pursuit. But the Church's influence extended beyond the persecution of alleged witches. The spread of Christianity across Europe led to the marginalization and demonization of pagan beliefs and practices, many of which were associated with folk magic, herbalism, divination, and other forms of occultism. These practices were condemned as works of the devil, further fueling fear and suspicion towards witchcraft. Yet in spite of the Church's condemnation, magic and witchcraft persisted. There were those who continued to practice in secret, risking accusations of heresy. They drew upon a diverse range of influences, including Christian, Jewish, and pagan traditions, to perform rituals, cast spells, and summon spirits. The Church's influence was vast, shaping societal perceptions of witchcraft and casting it in a demonic light. Yet it was not all-encompassing. Witchcraft during the Dark Ages was a complex and multifaceted phenomenon, reflecting the interplay of religious, social, and cultural factors. It was a time of fear, but also of resilience and clandestine practice, as people navigated the boundaries set by the Church and secular authorities. The fear of witchcraft led to some of the darkest chapters in human history. During the late medieval period, spanning roughly from the 14th to the 17th centuries, Europe was gripped by bouts of religious hysteria, social unrest, and economic instability. This cocktail of fear and uncertainty gave rise to periodic waves of persecution and witch hunts. Authorities, both secular and ecclesiastical, were at the helm of this crusade against perceived evil. They sought out individuals accused of practicing witchcraft, subjecting them to rigorous interrogation, often involving torture. The scale of these witch hunts was staggering, with tens of thousands of people, mostly women, falling victim to the hysteria. Accusations were often based on flimsy evidence or hearsay, and the trials were largely a spectacle of fear and superstition, rather than a pursuit of justice. The infamous European witch hunts reached their peak in the 16th and 17th centuries. In the face of such terror, an accusation of witchcraft was tantamount to a death sentence. Those accused were often ostracized by their communities, their properties confiscated, and many met their end at the stake or on the gallows. But what factors led to these persecutions? The Church played a significant role, condemning any form of occultism as heretical or demonic. Social upheaval and economic instability too contributed to the climate of fear. In times of crisis, people often look for scapegoats, and witches fit the bill perfectly. They were perceived as outsiders, individuals who threatened the social order and Christian values. But it wasn't just individuals who were targeted. Entire communities were sometimes accused of witchcraft, resulting in mass trials and executions. These witch hunts were not isolated events, but part of a broader pattern of fear and persecution that swept across Europe during the Dark Ages. In the turmoil of the times, accusations of witchcraft often spelled doom for the accused. The fear of the unknown, the desperation to find a scapegoat in times of crisis, and the powerful influence of the Church combined to create a climate of fear and persecution that still echoes through the annals of history today. Despite the fear and persecution, witchcraft did not disappear. Instead, it found a home in the shadows. During the Dark Ages, the practice of magic was driven underground, becoming a secret art practiced in the twilight margins of society. Here, away from the prying eyes of the Church and the secular authorities, witchcraft survived and even thrived. One of the ways witchcraft endured during this period was through the circulation of magical texts, known as grimoires. These were often handwritten, carefully concealed, and passed down from generation to generation, teacher to student. Grimoires were not just books of spells, but repositories of arcane knowledge, containing instructions for rituals, divination, and the summoning of spirits. Among the most famous of these grimoires was the Key of Solomon, believed to have been written by the wise King Solomon himself. This text was a veritable encyclopedia of celestial magic, detailing rituals for invoking angels and controlling demons. Another significant grimoire was the Picatrix, a comprehensive treatise on astrological magic, which offered guidance on everything from creating talismans to performing complex astrological calculations. These texts drew on a wide range of influences, blending Christian, Jewish, and pagan elements into a rich tapestry of esoteric wisdom. However, possession of a grimoire was a perilous affair. To the Church, these texts represented heresy, a direct challenge to their spiritual monopoly. They were considered tangible proof of dabbling in the dark arts and could lead to accusations of witchcraft, with dire consequences for the accused. Yet, despite the risks, the allure of these forbidden texts remained strong. For those who dared venture into this clandestine world, grimoires offered a gateway to power and knowledge beyond the mundane, a means of exerting control in a world often characterized by uncertainty and upheaval. In the face of persecution, the practice of witchcraft became a clandestine affair, its secrets hidden in cryptic texts. These texts served as a lifeline, preserving the wisdom of the ages and ensuring that the flame of witchcraft continued to burn, even in the darkest corners of the Dark Ages. Yet not all magic was feared and persecuted. In the rural communities of the Dark Ages, folk magic and practitioners known as the cunning folk played a significant role. These individuals were often respected figures, offering remedies for ailments, protection against malevolent forces, and other services rooted in a deep understanding of nature and the unseen world. Their practices, though magical in nature, often coexisted with Christian beliefs. This blend of spiritualities was not uncommon, as people found ways to reconcile their old traditions with the new religion. Despite the church's stern stance against witchcraft, the cunning folk were often tolerated, their practices woven into the fabric of everyday life. These practitioners were the keepers of age-old traditions, their knowledge passed down through generations. It was a different kind of magic, one that was intimately tied to the rhythms of nature and the seasons, and deeply ingrained in the community. Despite the church's dominance, folk magic persisted, offering a different perspective on the magical practices of the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages were a complex combination of fear, superstition, and resilience. Peppered throughout this era, the Christian church's influence cast a long, imposing shadow, coloring perceptions and instigating widespread witch hunts. Fueled by religious hysteria and social instability, these hunts marked a chilling period of persecution, often resulting in the brutal interrogation and execution of those deemed heretics. Yet beneath this surface of fear and suspicion, hidden practices persisted. Defying religious condemnation, magical texts and grimoires circulated among the daring, offering instructions for rituals, spells, and spirit summoning. Alongside these forbidden practices, folk magic and herbalism flourished in rural communities, the work of the cunning folk who held on to old ways and wisdom. Thus ends our journey into the Dark Ages, a time of fear and superstition, but also of resilience and hidden wisdom. An era that, for all its darkness, still held flickers of light in the most unexpected of places. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the Dark Ages, a time shrouded in mystery and misconceptions, yet brimming with stories of resilience and hidden wisdom. We hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity and given you a glimpse into a time that, despite its darkness, still held flickers of light in the most unexpected places. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What did you find most fascinating about this era? Do you have any thoughts or theories you'd like to share? Please let us know in the comments section below. If you found this video informative and would like to delve into more historical eras with us, please give this video a like. Your support truly makes a difference. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll be the first to know when we release new content, ensuring you never miss a journey into the past. We appreciate your support and look forward to exploring more historical eras with you. Until then, keep your curiosity alive and never stop learning. The gates of our secret garden are now closed.